This is your English story for B1 learners. Read, listen, and enjoy. Jim Connell woke up one Tuesday morning, expecting just another day. Yesterday had been an ordinary day. So had the day before it. So had the day before it. And the day before that, and so on. His days were always very predictable, and this made everything seem quite mundane, and sometimes even a bit boring. Each day Jim would wake up and see the sunlight gently coming through his curtains. After that, he always had a simple breakfast, cereal, and a cup of coffee. A quick look at the clock would confirm he was following his usual schedule. After that, the daily commute to work was always the same, with the familiar scenes and sounds of busy traffic, regular stops at traffic lights, and the constant hum of the car engine. Upon reaching work, his tasks formed a predictable pattern. He would go to meetings, respond to emails, and make phone calls. A routine that happened every day. Even the conversations with colleagues, while nice, carried a sense of déjà vu. Each one felt familiar, as if he had experienced it before. The predictability of it all made it hard to expect any surprises or spontaneous moments. But today was a strange day. The moment he got out of bed and stood on the floor, he noticed something unusual. The old clock on the wall, which always kept the time well, had stopped. He looked at his wristwatch and saw that it had also stopped. Confused and curious, he went outside and realized that everything around him had frozen, as if time had come to a halt. His town, which was usually lively and busy, had turned into some kind of three-dimensional photograph. He saw a person on a bicycle balanced on one wheel and a ball that was frozen in mid-air. He also saw a dog and his owner playing fetch. The dog had its mouth wide open, and its owner stood still with an extended arm and a frozen smile. At first, Jim simply marvelled at the strangeness of the situation, but then, as the minutes passed, he started to have fun. He gave a high five to a sales assistant at the supermarket. He also removed the hat from an old man's head and ran around with it for a few minutes. It was so much fun. He was having a whale of a time. He didn't know when the town was going to unfreeze, so he wanted to make the most of this situation when he could. This meant that as the day went on, his pranks became ever more elaborate. He built a tower of canned goods in the supermarket, and even drew silly moustaches on some of the frozen townspeople. As the sun began to set, Jim went to his local park so he could be surrounded by the frozen beauty of nature. The trees looked like shadows against the dimming sky, their branches and leaves completely still, not moving at all. There was no birdsong, no sounds of insects flying, just silence. He climbed a big tree and sat on a sturdy branch, observing everything around him. The leaves were hanging in the air, like they had been caught by an invisible hand while falling. The birds in the sky were frozen still, their wings wide open. It was a strange and beautiful sight. When time unfroze, the town went back to its normal, hectic pace, and no one seemed to notice that time had stopped. Well, except for those poor people with moustaches drawn on their faces. It was a day that Jim would not forget. It had taught him the importance of cherishing every fleeting moment of his ordinary, yet beautiful, days ahead.